The following podcast is about movies and TV. There may be spoilers, though we do try to avoid them. Also, we occasionally mention current events like the COVID-19 pandemic. This isn't our focus, but it is a topic that is hard to avoid. We know that some are trying to avoid these things because times are strange, but we hope you consider our show a pleasant distraction.
I love you.
Well, waddle-dee and welcome back. We're Green and Faceless on the couch. I'm the Green Traveler.
And I'm Faceless Leone. So, Greenie, come on and let me know. Should I stay or should I go?
Yeah. So last time I proposed to you a threesome.
Uh-huh.
And we'll do more threesomes. You just got to prepare for those. You gotta prep. You gotta build your stamina back up.
That's true.
It take a lot of energy to pull off.
Yeah, it's three whole things you gotta watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes time and effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're fortunate that this weekend, theaters are starting to open back up. Whether that's a good idea or a bad idea, we'll let the stats decide, I guess, when they start to come in.
Yeah.
But the theater closest to us just started showing Christopher Nolan's new movie Tenet, and I was really excited, but I didn't want to go back to the theater.
Yeah.
And then I got even more excited because it came to the drive-in theater, and I felt a little more comfortable with that.
From the comfort of your own car.
Yeah, out in the outside, the nearest car is 6 feet away from me. I feel a little safe. I'll talk about that though. I'll talk about that when I talk about Tenet. Before I talk about Tenet, but there's some shenanigans going on at the drive-in theater.
Oh man. Well.
But
opposite of that, we have Mulan, which just came out this weekend. To those willing to pay $30 to watch it.
$30 whole dollars.
30 whole American slammers. But that, that is to watch it as many times as you'd like.
I get it.
Yeah. I get it too.
It's egregious.
But it is the same. Yes, it is the same price as to have a physical copy of a Blu-ray in your hands. But I do get that they have to make some kind of money off of this film.
Yeah, but you don't have to charge $30.
No,
people are already paying your platform monthly.
Yep,
for it.
That's true. I would understand even $20. I would have understood.
20, I'm willing.
Yeah, because that's the price of two tickets.
Yeah, it's similar to going to the theater.
Yeah.
As you said, 2 tickets, or if you're going like me, I went to the theater every single weekend. I didn't get any refreshments, but if I were to get refreshments, it would be like getting a ticket and a soda pop.
Of course, yeah.
Soda pop? Who am I? I never say soda pop.
But you drink plenty, as do I. So, anyhow, Mulan. Yeah, you're sitting at home. You pay some money, and should we stay in and watch it? I don't know. Should you go ahead and share first how you felt about Mulan?
I will say that it is just as I felt about all of the other Disney live action remakes so far, which is, they're competent films, they're entertaining, they look nice.
Some are.
Some of them. There are some that are not competent, that is very true.
Yeah.
But most of them are competent. They have that Disney polish. But in the end, across the board, still, the animation is so much better, so much more worth your time. We'll go further into Mulan, but this one is, I feel like the one thing most people are going to be annoyed about, or at least what I've been seeing on the internet so far, is that it's not like the original. Damn it, there's no singing. People are so mad that they're not singing. Don't go into this movie thinking it's going to be the exact same. It's not.
No, it's not.
it's the same story, but they've definitely changed it to be more of
It's a
a
warrior
fighting
movie.
drama. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Which I appreciated that.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Disney has everything at their capability to make great films, but they worry too much about pushing it.
If you can spend $4 billion for Star Wars, I think maybe they have some capital to move around.
And Star Wars is like the perfect example because it's like they were so afraid of like pissing people off
Yeah.
that they played everything safe, and I feel like they played this one very safe too. You
Hmm.
know, what did you
I
think about it?
Well, I had a pretty positive reaction to leaving my watch of Mulan because
To
I
leaving your
honestly
couch.
from leaving my couch to the bedroom where I pondered upon the movie before I fell asleep. Um, yeah, it I really liked the difference. I'm just so happy. Like very opposite of that review that you said. I'm just very happy that it's not the exact carbon cut same of the movie. Like
Yeah.
it has a completely different, not, I don't know if it's completely different, but it has a much different feel. The tone is much more serious, more hey, this is a legend from this culture rather than um, this is us taking this legend from this culture and making one of our Disney movies out of it. It
Hmm.
felt a little, um, I don't know. I was just very happy that it wasn't the exact same. I
Yeah.
feel like that it did more credit to this, the capabilities of Mulan as a warrior.
I
So I
feel
don't want to
like
give away too much detail of this movie, but everybody,
yeah.
most people have seen the animated
Most
version
people
or
know
know
that,
this
yeah, they
story.
know the yeah, we'll try not to spoil things
Yeah, for
when we do
sure.
these reviews. Obviously, we might accidentally say something, but we'll try to avoid specific plot spoilers,
Yeah, and
especially
we
when I talk
might
about
let.
Tenet, because you didn't get to see Tenet.
No, I did
So
not.
I'm going to do my best to give like no spoilers whatsoever.
Sounds good.
Outside of like cameos, maybe I might talk some of those. But coming back to Milan though, with I feel like you said it was more serious, and you're right, it is more serious, but I feel like it's missing the heart.
Mm.
So like in the animation, there's two scenes in particular like when that I think of when she gets her sword, like the armor and
Mm-hmm.
everything. It's such a powerful moment in the animation. It's like I can't
Right.
remember. It's been a decade since I've seen it, honestly.
Well,
So I don't
it's
really
good. You
remember.
should rewatch it. That the animated movie
Oh
is
no,
very worth it.
yeah, I remember loving it. I
Yeah.
just that's the thing is like I haven't returned to it in a while because I've been kind of
Right.
wanting to watch all of Disney from the beginning. I know
For
it's
this,
gonna be a it's gonna
that'd
be
be
a
good.
little
Yeah, I think that'd be
it'd
fun.
be a very long yeah, this would be fun too. Um, but uh, this movie during that scene, the live action Mulan, she just kind of like walks into a room, sees a sword, and then she like turns around. She's wearing the armor and she has the sword and she runs off. And it's like there's not
Hmm.
really much of a musical background. It's just kind of like
Yeah.
it just felt really bland. And she's just like, all right, now I'm doing this. And then
I
the
could
the be a man scene is the other one
where
where
they
it's like,
just kind of talk about it instead of sing about it.
well, like I mean, I don't even need them to sing about it, but in the animation, that scene is great because
Right.
it feels really good. It's like it's empowering. You see her like
Mm-hmm.
overcome so much, and like she does it by herself. Like I mean, driven by her,
Right. And in
like
this
commander and
this one they
everything.
kind of do it in like three different scenes.
Yeah,
Um
yeah, and it's just like it is impressive what they're doing, but it doesn't feel impressive because it's just them walking up a mountain carrying
right.
water, which that is, it is a challenging physical feat that I haven't been able to pull off.
No.
But
No.
like the way they film it just it doesn't carry any weight.
Right.
It doesn't seem, when she gets to the top, it's like, all right, good job, you did it. Whereas in the other one, you're just kind of just like, yeah, heck yeah, you did it. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, and well, they got the, like you said, the other one's a musical and has that ramping up in the background. So yeah, like the music definitely pulls your emotion into it a little bit more.
Hmm.
For me, these scenes felt a little bit more like, hey, look at this tradition that made these Chinese soldiers good warriors because of these virtues that they believed in, which I'm not going to give away too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it was for me. So okay, let me ask you this: would you have felt that Mulan was a little bit more empowered through these scenes if you had not had the other film to compare it to?
I would still say no because I didn't feel attached to Mulan in this movie. So I don't know, like I really don't know why, but like in the other movie, it seems like there was more, like it was thrust upon her that she had to go do
Yeah.
this.
In this movie, it does kind of sound like she wants to.
She wants it.
She
Yeah,
wants
she
this.
wanted to go and get this, and it's like I like that. That's a good character
Yeah,
trait, to have that
yeah.
drive. But like I don't know, I didn't really connect with her character all that much.
Hmm.
And not to say that she's not doing a good job because she did a great job
I think
acting.
so too. I
That's the one thing that I did like about this movie is it's got some pretty good acting. Donnie Yen plays the commander.
right. Yeah, he's really
He's It
good.
Man.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job.
And then
I
and then the Emperor. Did you notice who the Emperor was?
I am now just looking at the cast list. I could not tell. For me, it sounded like the Emperor was dubbed, which is kind
Maybe.
of, he
I
might have
mean,
been. It's we didn't say it's Jet Li. I guess
yeah, I
we
didn't
should
know if we
say.
wanted to. Yeah, I
If
didn't
we're
know if we wanted to keep that spoiler or not,
I
but
well, I don't know.
I feel like
You
it's
can
out
look up.
there.
It's on the cast list. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I don't think we're
I
gonna
loved it
have
when
to
it
worry.
popped up. But I love Jet Li, so it was just like whenever he popped up, I kind of take the Emperor that seriously
Yeah.
because I kind of just wanted to grin and laugh because it's
Right. I think
it's
it
Jet Li.
might be
It's so
better
fun.
not to take him that seriously. I won't say any
No.
more than that.
Yeah,
um,
no, like no, but I mean, there were moments where he probably should have been taken seriously, and I was just kind of grinning, just like,
I'm with you. I'm with you. I kind of had that feel about him too. So I think that one thing you said that they did that. I do not want to mispronounce the actor's name, uh, uh, but the star playing Mulan,
I'm
and
gonna
a lot
say
of the other leading roles.
Liu Yifei.
Liu
I hope.
Yifei.
I think. If we're
Okay.
wrong, don't hold, just tell
Yeah.
us
Just let
politely in
us
the
know.
comments,
Yeah.
and we will correct ourselves in later videos.
Sure. I definitely. But what was I saying? Yeah. Anyways, I do think that there is a little bit of an acting language barrier for
Hmm.
some of these actors. The
Yeah,
cast is magnificent as an ensemble, for sure.
yeah.
I would say.
I
Uh,
think the best is her father,
oh
Zima.
yeah, he's so good.
Yeah,
Um,
like I know him from Rush Hour, but more recently from Arrival, and like, I don't know if Arrival was his last movie, but he did Arrival, and now he's in this, and like, I feel like this is like a really like he was my favorite performance in this.
yeah,
Like,
he
I
was
really liked her,
very good.
Milan's dad.
But yeah, so I don't think the fact that you can put a blanket statement and say that anybody did a bad job acting on this movie. I think they all did great. There's just some things that I think the writers wrote with a certain intention, like just kind of an American cultural uh, intention behind it that didn't quite translate. It's not how the actors
Yeah.
chose to say these lines. and it kind of puts a little bit of a dissonance on it for me, because maybe just because I pick up on those kind of things, like, oh, they're writing this because that's something that somebody in the States would say, but it's not necessarily something someone in China would say.
That's my other thing too, is Parasite just won Best Oscar, a movie that's entirely subtitled.
Right. Why
can't Disney just go that distance? Just do it. This movie would have been. I think this would have been much better if they had done that.
You know what though? I wouldn't. I bet. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't bet. But sometimes movies with a big enough budget like this will also shoot it in the native tongue.
Maybe, but
instead
I don't know
of dubbing it. I don't know if they would have if Disney did that or not. I should not say, but that would have been awesome. Yeah, I would watch the Chinese release. I would. I think that some of the lines would have come off a little bit clearer in tension.
And I think that would have also helped with the disconnect, because it's like it sounds like if you're watching a movie that's mostly subtitled, it's a little easier to feel connected to the characters, because then you're just doing it solely by their acting.
Right.
And like the acting in this movie is pretty good. Like,
yeah, I would say.
I feel like if it was subtitled, I think maybe I would be more involved. Like maybe that was something that removed it for me, was the fact that they're all speaking English, and it's just I don't know.
I think it's just obvious that it's some of theirs second language and not necessarily their strongest language.
Yeah.
And I don't think that would be so much a problem if it was written in a way that they would understand the phrasing more. I don't know.
Yeah. One more thing that I wanted to talk about were the villains. So let's talk about the main one. The same villain as the animation. I don't remember his name. Bari Khan.
Oh.
Forgive us.
I do have it.
Forgive us, people.
Bari Khan.
Forgive us. But no, he's kind of one note in this movie. Like, he's just evil, bad guy.
He wasn't super three-dimensional in the animation either.
No, but he's more intimidating in the animation. This one, he's kind of. I feel like for the first half of this movie, he's just a joke. Yeah. And then for the second half, then he's a little more serious. But at the same time, it's like, are you supposed to be a comedic character, or because like there's some times where I just wanted to laugh at his character.
He's a little dumb. In this film, where the character was very smart and skilled in the animated movie.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But what I feel like what made him kind of just stupid, like in my opinion, a bad character, was there's another villain that's introduced. That slight spoilers. There's a witch character.
Yeah. And definitely worth talking about, I think.
I did not like her, man. She.
Go ahead.
Her as an actor was good.
Yeah. I think.
The character is it's a nice idea. They introduce her. Big spoiler slightly here, where like she plays the Falcon or the Hawk character. In the animation, the bad guy had a hawk, or was it a falcon?
I think it's a falcon. A falcon. I could not be 100% on that, but yeah.
Yeah, but he has a bird of prey, yes. And this witch is his bird of prey. Like, that's the form that she takes sometimes, and but like. There's a scene where she has him in a chokehold, and she's just like, I can kill you right here, and it's very clear that she has all of the power, but she needs him to get her revenge or something. She needs him and his army, that is, to get all of this revenge she needs. And, so then she backs down, she doesn't kill him, and in a scene later, like one scene later, she's like, oh, I guess I'm your slave. and now I'm weak and I'm trapped in
Yeah,
this
so I don't know if they have like
this
some kind of
relationship. And I'm just like,
agreement or something that he takes advantage of, or what kind of hold she actually has over him. Besides this whole like, there is like this theme of like, they kind of try to use her to foil with Mulan, which I
yeah,
did think that was an interesting take. It could have been done better. I'll say that.
it could have been. I feel like if you're gonna do this character, continue to do her as the foil, but just get rid of Bori Khan.
Yeah. Well, okay. So
Just have her as the
yeah,
villain, and part of the story is a redemption arc for this villainous character,
right. That would be
where she
that would
realized
be,
she doesn't have to be a villain.
I as much as I did not like Bori Khan in this movie, I do think that he was an important vehicle. If they had explained their relationship a little bit more, the witch and Bori Khan's relationship, that is, I think that it could have worked a little bit better. Like why he had this power over her.
Yeah.
But it's not really explained. And if that was explained more, then I think that Bori Khan, the reason why he's necessary would be more prevalent. But I think he's necessary to put her in a comparable situation as Mulan, as to make this foil thing work, because the whole movie is about the constraints of women in society. So I think that is the reasoning behind their relationship, but could have been done way better. But I'm with you. I'm interested to see where a movie goes where she's the main villain.
Yeah, I just feel like it would have connected more maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's like I don't know. I feel like the message about women in society. I feel like the animation still just delivers that much stronger. I didn't really feel that much in this one. It just kind of felt like a rehashing with the Disney polish and a slight attempt at being a fighter movie.
Right. I think that though there are problems. I love that animated movie, but there are problems.
Yeah, I think there's problems with both.
Movie, like for example, her and Shane's relationship is really kind of weird.
But it's weird, but they do it in this one too. They do it
in this one too, with a different character. Like at least, well, it's not her commanding officer anymore.
They split the commanding officer character because like it's the exact same character. They just made one younger and her love interest, and the other one Ip Man.
Right, and I think that it could have been better if this guy was like, oh, well, I did really like them, but honestly is because they were a man. I think that might have been better. But, it's really hard to be homosexual in this time period in China, I'm sure, as it was in many other places in the world. Anywho. Yeah. What else?
That leads me.
Yeah, you go.
Just to go off of like the fighting and everything, let's get into the action. I didn't really like the action scenes. They cut away so much. Like you have a simple, there's a part where Mulan is just like, she's fighting people with a sword and she's like surrounded by like 5 people or whatever and she's fighting them, and they cut like probably 8 or 9 times. Whereas in a fighting movie, you're most likely going to keep one take, wide shot, so that everything's caught in camera, and that it just looks more impressive. And in this movie, instead of doing that, they did so many different cuts, like constantly. That's true. It's not as bad as Taken. It's nowhere near as bad as Taken, but they just should have, tried to get it all in camera. And they just didn't do that, and it's like so many times where it'd be annoying. And it's like I get that they can't, I discovered while watching this, you can't show somebody get stabbed or slashed, but you can show them get penetrated by a flying obstacle in a Disney movie, I guess, because you can watch people get hit by arrows. You can see people like the arrow go into them, but every time she stabbed somebody, it was a stab off camera.
Huh.
She never stabbed somebody on like in the camera, and I guess maybe that's a PG-13 thing.
Maybe. Yeah, I think after a certain amount of violence, you gotta change the rating. This was PG-13?
I don't know if it was PG-13. I was saying maybe it's a ratings thing.
You're probably right on it's a rating thing, but Disney, like you said, is always gonna play safe.
Yeah, and like that's part of my problem is it's like everything was also filmed, like the action scenes at least were filmed in like high def. So right. All these actions look like they're going much faster. It looks like they're going just like a slightly faster speed than normal people. And it's because that they wanted to have that slow motion option, They wanted to be able to go into slow-mo whenever they wanted to get the coolest effect.
Right.
And
some people go bonkers. It
just
for that.
irritated me.
I know it bonkers you. It bonkers you.
Yeah.
But some people
it bonkers me.
It bonkers you, and some people go bonkers for it.
Well, no, I mean it's fine to go bonkers for it, and I do go bonkers for it when it's done right. This movie didn't do it right. They did it during like the scenes where it's like Bori Khan's walking up to the fight. So it's like you cut to Mulan and she's like, 8 different cuts of her slashing somebody, and then you cut to Bori Khan in slow motion walking towards, it's like dun 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 dun. It's like no, show me her fighting people in slow motion and show him moving in real speed.
Yeah. So at least on the first watch, I that's all I've watched it. That did not bother me much. There was some cheesy sci-fi-ish moments, especially with the Phoenix.
So let's talk about the Phoenix.
Yeah, there is a Phoenix in the movie. I guess we won't really talk about its importance in the film. I don't know.
No, let's just say there's a CGI'd Phoenix that only Mulan could see.
Right.
That flies around constantly through this film, and it's just like I get the idea behind it. I don't want to try to spoil things, so it's like I get the idea behind it, but the way it looks on camera is it looks like Mulan's fucking crazy because nobody else is seeing this damn Phoenix fly around.
It's superfluous. If I can never say the word right, but I want to use it all the time. It doesn't need to be there, just like the word.
No, it's so stupid.
But I think though that if you do look at those scenes, this is how I took those scenes. Like, it felt, that element of the film anyways did feel to me like a modern with CGI film feels from China, like a Chinese made film. Like they do some really symbolic things with the CGI nowadays, which can be fun.
Yeah.
But I don't think it worked for this film.
Yeah. That said, we should throw it out there that I don't think either one of us are very knowledgeable about Chinese culture and history. Like we know some stuff. We know enough.
We know what high school taught us. And a little bit more.
Yeah, I read some stuff online that said this movie is fairly inaccurate in regards to
too bad.
The cultural stuff. I don't know if that's true or not. That could be somebody spitballing on the internet. So I want to throw it out there that, maybe this film might be inaccurate in those ways. I don't know. I don't think as somebody, as an ignorant viewer, I don't think the cultural stuff, hurts the movie at all. Like it looks, and the world is good. They really do build that world and that feeling of.
Right. There's definitely some good world building going on in the film. I did appreciate that. Yeah. And
I do wish there was a Mushu character.
You wish there was a what? Mushu character? Yeah.
A Mushu character. I don't, I'm not mad at all about the movie being different than the animation. I think the people who are mad about that are foolish.
Yeah, because what is the purpose of them redoing the film if it's not to make it a touch different? And that is definitely the problem that Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, and all those other remakes had.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it seems like they're trying to put a different spin on it, which makes me, if it's received well, and that's the direction that they finally start taking these after how many films, I don't know. I would be more happy to go and watch these.
I feel like they're gonna start playing it safe.
Again,
I don't know.
Just pull it back again. Cinderella was the first one, and it was fairly different. I mean, it's Cinderella. You can't tell Cinderella.
I don't think I've even seen that one.
Cinderella. We could watch it sometime. It's okay. Costumers love it for some reason. That's all.
Yeah.
But that was the first one, and it wasn't really received that well, and I think that's why they're like, oh, okay, they want the same movie, but that isn't a good. It's not a good model.
Yeah, it's not a good model for us, but I guess people do see those movies more, and it irritates me, man.
It's true.
So that's why we're doing this. We're telling you whether to stay or to go, and I would say, in that regard with Mulan, the fact that it is different does make me happy. Yeah, I don't think they pulled it off well. It's a good movie. I'm not gonna say it's it's a waste of time, but I don't. I don't know. It's just I would appreciate if they continue to go this route,
right?
Trying to not just remake the exact same movie, because I agree with you there that remaking the exact same movie like they've done with their other ones,
it's not worth it.
It's so stupid.
It's not worth it. And there's
it really,
of
especially with like Lion King.
There's plenty of callbacks to that other movie in this movie. It could have. It could have honestly.
And they're good. They're subtle.
Yeah, the subtle ones are great. Like the music in the background.
I heard. Yeah, I was gonna say I heard some of the music in the background that was callback. That was nice. But I feel like it. In the end, for me, it's a competent movie. But just see the animation. The animation has more heart.
It's true, and you can if you have Disney Plus,
more emotion,
or VHSs from when you were a kid. You don't have to pay $30 to watch it.
I used to do a blog where I talked about movies, where I graded them all, and I graded them on a scale of 4 stars, and I think I'm going to keep doing that through this podcast. So, if I were to grade Mulan, Mulan 2020, I would give it 2.5 stars.
Okay.
Out of 4.
That's pretty fair for you. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's competent. It's not a waste of your time. Don't expect the original. If you just want the original,
watch the original.
Don't watch it. But honestly, when it comes down to it, unless you have somebody else who's going to pay the $30, don't pay the $30. It's going to be free to watch in December.
Yeah.
So it's not worth $30 to just wait for it to come out in December.
You can wait for this movie. I will say that this movie is worth waiting for. But if you were excited about this movie like I was, because I had heard that it's going to be different, so I was like, okay, cool. I could really watch a war movie. I think this one also translates better as a live action movie because it's a war movie. And it's not animals talking.
Yeah. We almost forgot the avalanche, but I'll you finish what you were saying, then we'll get back to the avalanche because that's a spoilery bit. We'll tack that on at the end.
So I will say that the first movie is a war movie musical, and this movie, like you said, is more of a fighting movie. But there is a war going on, and there are pretty cool battle scenes. I think the battle scene was pretty cool. With her on the horse, personally.
They cut away from it all.
Yeah. Oh, that was one big problem that I had with this movie and the previous movie. The last movie, it made a little bit more sense because she was found out. Everybody knows that, she's a woman going into a war that only allows men, and eventually the cat gets out of the bag, guys.
We presume everybody
We
knows.
presume everybody knows.
It's a Disney movie.
Yeah, the cat gets out of the bag, okay? So, anyhow, the last one, she gets found out. And this one, it's a little bit different of a reveal. I won't give that away. She gets found out. She gets stripped of her honor, and I believe they take the armor away.
Yeah.
So when she goes, and then she goes back to the capital, yada yada, and that's where the final battle happens. And so you can't be mad that she's not in armor because she doesn't have any, and she didn't expect the events to happen. In this movie, she goes to the main battle. She decides to do it not as this man that she's been impersonating, and she takes off her armor, and it makes no sense. She's trained for months in this armor.
Plus, like I don't remember if the animation had this. This is kind of a big spoiler, but like the chi. And in this one, she just kind of has like a force-like power.
Yeah.
And it kind of just irritated me because it just kind of made her not powerful in her own sense. She just had this magic ability that she could just kick spears into people.
I see how you feel. I can see how you feel like that diminishes her, but I think it's what makes her special. But I think in the other film, it does feel more like any woman could have done this, decided to be strong for her father, where in this film, she has this advantage.
Yeah, in the other movie, in the original, it's, as you said, it's like any woman. All women are powerful. This movie's like, women are powerful, but this one's special. Yep. And it's just like, I don't know. I just didn't like that.
I get that.
But we should talk the avalanche scene real quick.
We should.
Again, this is spoilers. We'll try to figure out how to
skip
tell you
minutes.
To skip to a certain
5 minutes.
Yeah, skip 5 minutes. Something like that. We'll figure it out. But the avalanche scene. So, huge scene in the animation. It's silly but funny, and it's important. I don't want to really actually spoil things, so I'm trying to talk around it. But in this one, so her what do you call them? Her friends, her battalion. They're not a battalion.
They're not a squadron either. I think they are a battalion.
Yeah. Are they a battalion?
So.
But like they're under fire. Bori Khan's got them under fire. They all have their shields up. They're getting hit with explosives. Like they're dying. They're close to, like there's no way they can get out of this. And yet Mulan has time, while in complete open, everybody can see her.
Right.
The enemy can see her. She has time to ride her horse, collect about maybe 10 to 20 helmets, ride around the enemy, set those helmets up on rocks, and then plan out how to get the enemy to start their own avalanche.
Oh my god. Okay.
All before the enemy can kill the battalion that's already been under fire and has taken like 4 direct hits.
Okay, so at this point, the film started feeling exactly like the other film for a minute, and like I saw her look at the hill, and I was like, they're gonna do the avalanche again, and I looked away for a little bit. My bad.
But like in the but it's just like in the animation you can you can suspend your disbelief, however that phrase goes. You can do that, and it's real simple because that's kind of the beauty of animation. You don't really see the time happen. You don't see her writing to collect everything. Live action has to set that up a little bit. Live action has to show her physically pick up some helmets and physically show her riding around the enemy.
That would take forever.
Just like, it's like, how has the enemy not killed your friends yet?
Right.
They've been direct hitting them, like when you rolled up and saw what was going on. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. That's kind of weird. But they did. I would say honestly, they did set it up pretty well in the animated version. Like they were already shooting those rockets at the enemy, and so and I think that could work. too. Honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
an explosion into the side of a snowbank. But anyways, I do think that there's one last thing to say about Mulan. Besides, I think that we were both kind of in agreement that you could wait for this movie. I do think it was really good for
Mm-hmm.
for the remakes. It was really good for the remakes. So if you were excited about it like I was, go for it. But you can watch it in December too. Um,
Yeah.
so though, before I think 2.5 stars from you, I think they know what that means. It's okay. So
Yeah.
closing. There apparently is some kind of boycott about this film. So I just wanted to put that out there for our listeners. If that is something that you try to stay informed about, I recommend you looking that up before you watch the film. See if you agree with the boycott or not. Otherwise, do what you want.
Yeah. What Blake says.
So yeah, just look it up if that's something you're worried about. So yeah, on to Tenet.
All right. So the other option of tonight, of this weekend, of tonight, of this weekend,
Tonight of
was
this weekend.
to go. Should
To
you
go.
stay or
Where
should you
we
go?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's a big thing here. I really badly want to see Christopher Nolan's new movie, and I was super excited when the theaters were opening up, and I was like, all right, that's great. I'm going to give this about maybe a month, give it
Right.
maybe 2 months. Maybe they'll close back down again once it starts spreading again. Who knows? I mean, like, obviously, I hope not. Like, as I said, I went to the theaters once a week before coronavirus. This was, it was a ritual of mine. I loved it. I love seeing movies. I love that experience. Movie theaters can be gross and dirty, and I get why people are against them at times. But I've gone to some really nice movie theaters, and I love that experience. It's
Me too,
it's
man.
how many directors. Well, it's like especially from Christopher Nolan's point of view, it's how directors want their movies to be seen.
Mm.
When a lot of times when they're setting up shots, they're thinking about what's this going to look like on the big screen. I
Right.
got to make sure this looks right. Uh, like Kubrick was famous for when he sent movie reels or the film reels to the places, he had specific instructions for how you had to, how you had to play it. Um, and it's just like I get where Tenet's coming from. You want your movie to be seen how you have spent years imagining
Right.
it to be seen. That said, it is a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
He has to. I mean,
and
he's an artist,
I
but you gotta play to the world, your world, man.
yeah, and it really sucks. But at the same time, having seen this movie at a drive-in location,
Mm.
admittedly, there is a bit of the spectacle lost at drive-in. You don't get the crisp
Right.
surround sound feel. The quality of the film is kind of diluted by an outside screen that's a little beat up.
Right.
Um,
And sometimes they
so
don't
it's like I didn't.
project the the movie correctly.
Yeah. Sometimes the lighting's off. People can have the headlights on that are interfering with your
Yeah.
vision.
But there's definitely some
Um,
positives of going to the
oh
drive-in.
man,
I mean,
I'll get into the positives, but having that option was nice. And again, I didn't get the full spectacle that Christopher Nolan wanted, but having seen it, I don't think the spectacle is worth risking
going.
coronavirus
Not
for.
worth it, huh?
No, the movie is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I wish he would let it be streamed.
Yeah, just let
It's
people see it,
it
man.
would be amazing. It would be amazing to watch it in the theater. I want people to be able to someday have that experience because it
Right.
is worth seeing in the theaters. It's not worth possibly risking, this virus or giving this virus to somebody.
Right.
Um, but if you have that option to go see it at a drive-in theater, even though some of the spectacle is lost, I recommend that. That said, I want to talk about that drive-in theater experience.
Yeah.
That was my childhood. So
Oh
like
yeah,
I might be remembering my childhood wrong because as a child things are different when how you're looking at the world.
Right.
But I believe one of my cousins owned the drive-in theater close to us.
Oh, cool.
And so, it's like whenever we went to the drive-in theater, which was quite often back then, maybe at least like once a month or at least twice a month during the summer when it was open, uh, he would come and he would say hi, and it was cool because it's like, I know the owner, we still had to pay to get in, like we didn't get any kind of benefits, but like he would let me into the projector room.
That's
so
awesome.
I get to see the film reel. Yeah, it was really cool. Like I got to, one time I actually got to sit in there and just watch the movie with him while it was projecting, so that was pretty fun.
Oh my god, I feel so special.
Yeah, like it was a really cool experience. So it's like the drive-in experience is just beautiful to me. I love it. I love being able to sit and you have your radio on, you have a blanket, you're in a lawn chair,
a pizza pie.
I mean, because of Corona, I wasn't outside of my lawn chair because there were a lot of people around me still. Which leads me to my big issue with the drive-in theater, the assholes.
Yeah.
Like you have them in the movie theater too, but the assholes in the movie theater are typically just like checking their phone or just being annoying or loud. At a drive-in theater, I don't care if you check your phone. We're outside.
You're in your own car or outside. Yeah, right.
Yeah, like it doesn't affect the experience for me. Like I was checking my phone because the first movie was Space Jam, and I didn't realize until the credits started rolling that I was basically on my phone throughout the entirety of Space Jam. But
good movie. It's just been seen before.
Good movie in a way.
It's fun. That's fair. That's fair.
It's a nostalgic, fun movie.
Yeah.
Boy, is it stupid at times.
Cult classic.
Yeah, definitely. But there was a car, so it's like I got there at 30 minutes before sunset. So I was there in time to relax, get set up, start getting in the mood for it.
Right.
For the night, basically just pounding energy drinks so I wouldn't fall asleep throughout Space Jam. And but I went the entire 30 minutes before sunset with no car pulling up in front of me or beside me. So I was perfectly the antisocial car in the back. I had like a perfect center view. It was great. And then the movie starts, Space Jam starts, and this car pulls up, backs in right in front of me, headlights on me. And oh man, I was like, damn it, I went the entire movie. And now this guy, and he just I could see that he was struggling with the headlights too. Like as a young guy, and I felt like a total asshole because it irritated me. And then his girlfriend pops the hatch up, and it's just sitting straight up, blocking the screen. And I'm just like, God damn it. And so I get out of my car and I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm never a guy who confronts people.
Right.
But I got out of my car and I was walking up to him and I could see he was like, fuck, he was just he was a nice guy. I was the rude guy here in this situation. I know I was the rude guy.
Well, I think.
And I got up.
You gotta, if they're not gonna change it, you gotta do something. You can't just
and
not see the movie.
And they were on for 3 minutes. And I could see that he was struggling with trying to figure out how to turn them off because they would keep flashing or turning to dims and that kind of stuff. I could see he just didn't understand how his car worked. But I was just I got up and I was walked up to him. I was like, "Hey man, could you please turn your lights off?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm struggling with it." And I was like, "Okay, also lower your hood or your hatch." And I turned around and walked away and I was like, "Dang it!" My tone, I made my tone sound much nicer there. It was a little ruder when I confronted him.
No.
I wasn't Karen, I wasn't being a Karen. I wasn't yelling at the poor guy. But I was definitely obviously irritated. And if that guy hears me, I do want you to know I apologize. I'm sorry I was so mean. But he got back in his car and he actually like they drove off up front. So I was just like, oh man, that's why I felt really bad about it because like he couldn't figure out his car, so he had to drive away so he wasn't irritating me anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
I
I
mean,
felt bad.
man, you'd think though, like if you couldn't figure it out, you'd think that he would have thought to not pull in so that his headlights are facing most of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sunset, it's like it was dark.
Right.
Like I feel like he was kind of just making like one of those like I don't know where the hell to go. Oh, there's nobody here. Let me pull in here real fast.
Right.
Like but he wasn't anywhere near as annoying as the people who pulled in beside me 30 minutes into Space Jam. So we're already, like we're a third of the way through the first movie. Sunsets happened like half an hour ago. And his car pulls in and they proceed to smoke cigarettes, or maybe it was marijuana. I don't know. I didn't smell anything. Like I couldn't even smell cigarette smoke. I don't know what they were smoking. I just kept hearing lighters, and the girl was she was coughing nonstop. And I'm like, we're in the middle of a pandemic here. You pull in right next to my car, and then you spend the entirety of this movie coughing.
Oh no!
And then Tenet comes on, and I will eventually start talking Tenet. I just have to talk about this. But Tenet comes on. And they spend the first 20 minutes talking about Tenet, or not talking about Tenet. They spend the first minutes talking nonstop about just like the dumbest shit. Like I was paying attention to the movie, so I don't know what they're talking about, but they weren't focusing on the movie whatsoever.
Right.
And with 30 minutes left of Tenet, the guy just like looks over at the girl who's still coughing. She went through all of Tenet coughing as well. But he looks over at her and he's like, I have no fucking clue what's going on. And she goes, well, shit. I was hoping you would tell me what was going on. Let's get out of here.
Oh,
and then they drove off. So they show up 30 minutes late and then they left 30 minutes early. And they spent the entirety of the movie talking and coughing. And I feel like they just went there to irritate me. I don't think they went... I don't think they wanted to be there for any movie. They just wanted to be there to annoy me. They're just like, we just want to pull up next to somebody and ruin his fucking night.
There was this time that we went to the drive-in, and somebody like brought their own sound machine, just full of farts, and porn sounds, and oh man, it was like the whole freaking time he was doing this. There was a couple times it was well timed for the movie.
Yeah. Well, there's the other guy who's like Bluetooth kept kicking off.
Right.
So it's just like we'd have like, during a very serious moment in the middle of Jaws, and you just hear Bluetooth disconnected, and then somebody would yell like all the way across from the driver, and just like turn that fucking thing off. It's just God.
So this movie, Tenet, are you able to give a brief synopsis without spoiling the movie?
All right, here's my best attempt at this.
Okay.
All right, the protagonist, and that is his name.
Okay.
That is Nolan did not bother to name the main character, played by John David Washington.
Okay.
The protagonist is a spy. He is a spy. I don't know if he's for CIA. I can't remember. But he's a spy, and he proves himself early on in a mission to be worthy of stopping World War III, and he's the only one who can do it.
The only one.
So that's, I guess. Well, no, he needs help. He doesn't do it by himself.
Sure.
But like he's needed, and that's it. That's the synopsis.
Oh, okay, that's what you can tell me. Okay.
That's where I'm gonna end with it. Like, and I'll try desperately hard not to spoil anything. There will be minor slips, I guarantee you, but I will try very hard to keep this calm. And because I think I'll say up front, the movie is worth it. There's no reason to spoil anything because I think the spectacle that is put here is definitely worth your time. You should go see it. And I think the best way to put it, the best way to tell you why I think it's worth it, is I am not a fan of spy movies.
That's
There's
fair.
not a single spy movie that I have watched that I walked away from and could tell you exactly what happened.
They're hard pills to swallow for sure.
There there's I don't know, there's just something about a spy movie that once a spy movie starts, I struggle to piece it, not even just piece it together, just to maintain interest throughout it.
Right.
I kind of
There's
just
a
like
lot of
drift halfway through.
dredges uh,
Yeah,
in
and
spy movies.
it's like the third act comes around, and I'm just kind of just like sitting there like, wait, do I know that? Like, was that established before? It's like
Yeah.
that kind of like, I feel like I've missed a lot when the third act rolls around with most spy movies. And leave it up to Christopher Nolan to be, one of the first director that I walked away. I can't say that I knew exactly what happened in this movie,
Right.
but I was intrigued throughout. I was paying attention, I really enjoyed the experience I had, and I enjoyed the spy movie itself. I feel like I have a strong understanding of what happened more than most spy movies. I think what mostly confused me is Nolan's little tidbits that he's obsessed with time, so it's like every movie he ever does has a time, or something about time in there. And so I feel like that's the only thing that really confused me in this movie, was how time is represented.
That's pretty interesting because I do kind of always feel like when I leave a Nolan movie, like I know all the pieces were there, but I do have questions. I always have questions as to what exactly went on. But that's also what makes Nolan's movies great to watch, because you can rewatch them and piece it together.
Yes. And that is one of the beautiful things about Tenet, is this movie demands to be rewatched.
Okay,
Like
that's good.
all Nolan movies demand to be rewatched, but this one in particular, I will say this is not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie.
Sure.
I don't know where it would rank. I'm not going to get into that in this video, at least. But it demands to be rewatched. There's so much that happens in camera.
Okay.
So like going back to what we were talking about with Mulan, there's a lot that is edited out. There's so many, there's a lot of the heart of that movie that just seems like it was left on the cutting room floor. Like, Mulan just gets her armor and she's off. Mulan, the be a man scene, but like they extend it very long and it just kind of feels, yeah, he did it. In Tenet, everything is like happening in a long, not all long takes obviously, but it's all happening in camera, and trying very hard not to spoil things. I will say there will be fight scenes, there will be action scenes where two people are fighting, but one of them is fighting in reverse, and the other is fighting in normal time. So and you watch it, and it's incredible to watch, because that's the spectacle. Watching how they filmed some of these things, how they choreographed it.
So it's like Twin Peaks, that one scene, the movie.
Yeah. Yes. Kind of. Because it's like, there are people going in reverse. I don't want to give things away. But that's kind of the beauty of this movie, is you'll watch it back and you'll be like, some of it's just like, how did they do this? Some of it's just like super, just amazing to watch happen.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a building that a building will explode, but as the camera pans up, it's kind of reassembling, because it's going in reverse at the same time that it's exploding. Okay. So it's like, I don't know, and again, I watched it on drive-in theater screen, so that spectacle was, I don't know if diluted is the right word, but that spectacle was a little bit, diluted. Like, it wasn't as impressive as it should have been. So I get why Nolan wants this to be seen in theaters, because what they accomplished is, it's not as incredible as the hallway scene in Inception.
Yeah, sure.
Like you see that hallway scene, and then you see how they filmed that hallway scene in Inception, where, and it's like that's incredible. What they're doing here is equally incredible, but not as impressive,
Right.
I guess, in my opinion.
Right.
It doesn't look as impressive.
I think you could tell with the reverse effect how it was made, but still, like you said, fight scenes like that, choreographing it like that would be really interesting to watch. I am intrigued just on that alone.
And
yeah, go ahead.
But I do think one of the problems with this movie is, again, there doesn't seem to be much heart to it. You know, the characters are all spies. You're not really supposed to take to spy characters, I guess. You know, like most spy movies, they're all kind of dry characters. Like, I mean, except for James Bond, he's very charismatic and you know, action. And I mean, like most spy movies, I guess will do that too. But like most of them are like cold. You know, you interact with other spies. They've seen, you know, tough.
They're
things
supposed to be able to blend
people.
into the wallpaper, so I think to an extent that makes sense.
And like, there's moments though where you'll see, you know, the protagonist here will, you know, he has like, you know, little funny one-liners and stuff like that he'll throw out there. They didn't all really stick for me. John David Washington does an amazing job. I'm not gonna deny that. He's really good in the role. But like, the character that he's playing is not that exciting to me. Not in the least exciting to watch. Like, he's still, you know, it's really fun to watch what he's going through, but I don't connect to him. The character I connect to is played by Elizabeth Debicki, and she's the wife of the villain, who's played by Kenneth Branagh.
Okay.
And I'll get to that. Kenneth Branagh is a lot of fun in this movie, but he could be a lot of fun, but also negative, I think.
Okay.
To me, it wasn't negative, but Elizabeth Debicki is like the only character that actually has emotion in this movie. Like, she's really good.
That's good.
But basically, she's like, I'm trying not to spoil things, but like, she's the wife of the villain, and you know, she's kind of blackmailed by the villain. Okay. I guess. Again, trying not to spoil things.
That's a pretty classic. Pretty classic storyline.
Setup.
So yeah, I don't think that's given away.
Yeah. And it's the way in which she's being blackmailed that gives her character emotion, and how she channels that throughout the story is just great. Like, I really enjoyed watching her. The one thing that rang with me is that of everyone involved, of all the actors, of all the, you know, of Christopher Nolan, of the cinematographer and the you know, the sound maker, the composer, the sound maker,
the sound maker,
the sound maker, the composer. It's nobody's greatest work.
Yeah,
it's still a really good and really compelling movie. It's nobody's greatest work. The cinematographer, Hoyt van Hoytema, he did Interstellar.
That was a good score.
Well, he's the cinematographer.
I'm sorry. I thought we were still on composers.
I might have said composer. I'm sorry.
No, you might. I think you did say cinematographer.
But yeah, he did Interstellar, and you know, he does great. Like, he does amazing cinematography that also utilizes like CGI, kind of, you know, that kind of. There's more of a technical thing that he's trying to capture.
Yeah, there's definitely bad ways to do that, and he definitely. I think that. Yeah, Interstellar is a beautiful film. So. Yeah,
and God, I'm hoping I got Interstellar right. I think that's the right movie that he did.
We'll find out.
I know it's a space movie. No, I'm pretty sure it's Interstellar because it's also Christopher Nolan. But here, you know, it's like the spectacle that he's capturing here is equally impressive to like the CGI spectacle he was capturing with you know, his Interstellar movie. But here it's not as visually impressive to look at. You know, it's not as vivid. The shots aren't amazing, but what he captures in the camera, what's choreographed in camera, is so well done. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But again, I wouldn't say it's Hoyt von Hoytema's best work. I don't know if he would win an Oscar for this. Um, Maybe he'll get nominated. Who knows? But then like with the composer, it's not Hans Zimmer. You have Christopher Nolan movie, you immediately think that his music's going to be
Yeah,
scored by
that's what
Hans
I
Zimmer.
thought you were gonna say.
But here, and I'm honestly certain I'm going to butcher this name. It's Ludwig Göransson.
Ludwig
I want to say.
Göransson?
I might have.
That sounds like a name.
I might have written that down wrong. He did Black Panther. He won an Oscar for Black Panther's score.
Well, there's some good stuff in Black Panther for sure.
Yeah, but like beautiful music there. And again, here it sounds great. It's good for what you expect for a Nolan movie. It basically does sound like Hans Zimmer. Like I could have gone the entire movie and just thought I was listening to Hans Zimmer, honestly. But the problem is, especially with how, like, I don't know why Nolan does this. The music's so fucking loud. There's so many exposition scenes where you can't understand what they're talking about, and it's an exposition scene. This is information we need to hear. Good. And it's so loud, and it's just like, there's a moment where they're on the boat and they're talking about the plan or what, something that's about to happen, and they're on a boat, and there's three characters, and you hear the water, which is incredibly loud. You hear the engine of the boat, which is incredibly loud, and you hear the score in the background, which is incredibly loud. And then they're talking, and their dialogue is like a level below all of the other noise.
Oh, that's really dumb.
And it's just like,
that's an editor issue. That's
I want to say that, but at the same time, I feel like Nolan's kind of the director that is involved at every process. So I want to say it's a Nolan decision because he's done it with, he's done it with Dark Knight Rises. Mm-hmm. Interstellar had those moments too. Dunkirk definitely had moments where it was just incredibly loud, but I feel like that was kind of the point of Dunkirk.
Yeah, I mean, Dunkirk's definitely supposed to feel traumatic. So that makes sense.
But to go to Kenneth Branagh, I think he was playing a Russian character.
Oh, you think?
Like, that's the best way. Like, that's Kenneth Branagh in a nutshell, isn't it? Like, no, he's chewing the scenery here, and it's fun to watch him. He's being a good stereotypical villain. He's good for the movie. With the level that everybody else is performing, he's doing the same. And it's it all fits really well, but I do think people could be irritated by him, because he is a little over the top at times. I would say. Sure,
I kind of like that sometimes, honestly.
Yeah, but I mean, for a Nolan movie, it's kind of trying to take itself seriously. It's a little pretentious at times, and then you got Kenneth Branagh over here who's chewing the fat and being like a stereotypical, I want to end the world villain.
Right.
For me, it worked really well. So it's like, I think people will enjoy it. So I guess, in summary of Tenet, I would give it 3 stars. Again, that's out of 4. Okay. It's not Nolan's best. It does have, the obligatory 3-minute cameo from Michael Caine. That's completely unnecessary. I'm sure he drove the plot along. I don't remember. But he's there. Robert Pattinson was fun.
That's good.
Again, I wouldn't say it's his best. I would say that's The Lighthouse. I haven't seen a lot of his indies.
A renaissance here.
Yeah, right. His Ben Affleck renaissance.
Yeah.
But John David Washington's fun. I really like seeing him. He's it's gonna be really fun to watch him do more acting as well. For sure. But Elizabeth Debicki, in my opinion, is the best part of this movie. Well, no, actually, she's the best actor of this movie, I should say. The best part of this movie is the concept. Like, it's intriguing. It's hard to wrap my head around. I think there's an actual line in the movie where it's like, it doesn't make sense. Just forget about it. Like, they're trying to explain it. They're trying to explain like the concept to John David Washington, and I literally believe they say something along those lines where it's like, it's confusing. Just don't worry about it. And it's just
That's
like,
kind of a funny like blanket that should be in all of Nolan's
yeah,
movies,
yeah,
just to some certain extent. It's like because like he, if you really watch his movies like we do, they do make sense.
yeah.
Uh, but like there's definitely some holes in places.
Yeah, like
Um,
he cuts corners every now and then, but like
yeah,
he still
yeah.
delivers exactly what he wants you to see. Um, but like it has all like the same issues I have with Nolan movies too. Like
Mm,
again, the music's way too loud, especially over exposition
yeah.
scenes. A lot of Nolan movies, I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of Nolan movies, when there's exposition scenes, they take place at multiple different locations, but
Mm,
it seems like the conversation is continuing as normal. It's like they're just talking, like back and forth one area, and then they cut to another location and they're just still doing back and forth, but it could kind of still just be like the same conversation. And like, it's just like I don't know why he does, exposition like that, but like he does a lot of exposition. It's like that's one problem with I have with Nolan, but I mean,
yeah.
especially because like, especially with this movie, like he doesn't really explain the world to you. He does give you explanations for the concept and everything, but he doesn't really tell you why it's all happening, if that makes
Ah,
sense. Um, that's not really how I want to put it. I'm just trying not to spoil things.
yeah, yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
Because there's one plot hole, in my opinion, it's a plot hole. Maybe it's not. Maybe they explained it in the movie and it just went over my head. But it's just like, um, I will say that there's there's people in the future
Uh huh.
who have hidden something by burying it in the past. And
Okay.
my argument for a plot hole with that information, that's very loose. That's not like
Yeah. No,
that's not
it's
really
very
exactly what's going
loose.
on, but I'm trying to set this up. But with that information, how come the people in the future just can't pull up where they, you know, the object where it's at in the future because just because it was
Right.
dug in the past, it's still present in the future, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
but
It's true.
I mean, again, I'm sure it's explained. I don't know. I haven't really looked up what a lot of people are thinking about Tenet right now, because I enjoyed it. I walked away feeling
Right.
underwhelmed but happy. Uh,
Hmm.
but like I kind of walk away from every spy movie feeling underwhelmed. So
Yeah. But not typically happy. I've watched spy movies with you, so yeah.
yeah, I kind of walk away feeling tired and just like, damn it, I have to watch that again
Huh.
because people are going to talk to me about it and I don't know a damn thing that happened. Like Captain
Yeah.
America, uh, Winter
Winter
Soldier.
Soldier.
I
Yeah, I
have
have no idea what happened to that movie.
I have since watched it like 4 times, and while I still don't really know what happens in that movie because I just kind of tune out, I enjoy
Yeah.
it now. I actually like Winter Soldier now, but I can't tell you really.
Okay.
I can tell you scenes that happened.
Yeah, I will tell you exactly when we were at the movie theater the week that it came out, and we watched it, and I think there was this scene in the elevator with Nick Fury. That was it. That's the last thing I remember from
Yeah,
this movie.
and I feel like
That's
for
it.
me, for me, maybe it's also because a lot of spy movies are just very linear, and maybe I just
Right.
get bored with the linear line, and I just kind of like tune out because I don't know, I need something to be
Yeah.
kicked out of line. But it's just like, with a lot of spy movies, it's like you need to figure out what the villain's doing. Here's our lead, and they go to the lead, and the lead's like, all right, here's what I know. Go talk to this person,
Right.
and then they go talk to that person.
Right.
And he's like, oh, there's a drug deal going down here. You got to go there. So they go to that drug deal, and it's like, oh, person number two lied to you, and you actually have to go back to that area and go, retrace your steps and go to person number five. And so they do that. It's like
Right.
it's a very
Yeah.
linear kind of just like you get your next answer and
It's
you move on to it.
complicated. Yeah, it's complicated, but like you said, it's always from the perspective of the spy, and you only get the information that they're getting
Yeah,
typically. Typically,
and then
sometimes
there's
you'll
a big
have
twist at the end.
the background say. Sometimes you'll have background scenes with the villain, Uh, but that's not typically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand why it's hard. Uh, and I feel the same way, honestly, about most spy movies. Though I do enjoy just watching some of the action scenes in, Bond movies and stuff
Yeah.
like that too.
Yeah. And it's like, I love Skyfall.
Skyfall's good.
I was gonna say Doctor Who did an episode that spoofs the name, and I think they named theirs Spyfall, and now I can't remember. I can't remember what the James Bond movie is. It's Skyfall, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Skyfall.
Yeah. So Skyfall, like I love that movie. That's one of my probably top 50 favorite movies. I'm sure it makes it in the top 50 at least.
Somewhere in there.
But it's just good. Yeah, it's like there's
of recent movies.
You can definitely do spy movies that I'm going to enjoy. I guess Skyfall was probably actually the first spy movie that I walked out enjoying it. But this one, I don't know. I guess this one I walked out feeling way more intrigued. Like, there's a fun story here.
There's spectacle. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's the story that's told isn't really exaggerate. Like, it's not crazy or over the top. It's a very calm, relaxing, nothing too out of the box for a plot, if that makes sense. It's not calm and relaxing. There's a lot of action that's happening nonstop, but it's a straightforward plot. The concept that the plot is utilizing is complex, hard to wrap your mind around, and it will make it confusing. But the emotional story that's being told, especially between two characters, is, it's fun to follow. I don't think I realized a subplot until the very end. I didn't realize it was I kind of was just like, why do they keep showing that? And then they show it again. It's like, what is that significant? And then at the end, I was like, oh, it is significant. Like, I was just being dumb. And I feel like that was also because it was at a drive-in theater. If I was able to see it perfectly, I would understand what I was looking at. Because the object is like kind of hard to see on a drive-in theater.
Sure.
I know none of that makes sense because I can't spoil any of it. But
yeah, no, I think you're talking about it very well, actually.
Okay.
So let me ask you this, kind of wrap things up here. What if you had to choose? Should you stay or should you go between these movies? What would you think?
I would say if you are able to see it at a drive-in theater, or if you trust your theater's ability to clean its theaters and everything, if you would trust them, or if you're able to, if you just trust the experience, I would say go see Tenet. I think it's worth it. The spectacle, especially in theaters, is going to be fun to watch. It's not necessary to see it in theaters. I wish it was streamed. If Nolan does collapse and give you a streaming option before the end of the year, watch it that way. It's not going to happen. He's not going to collapse. But I think Mulan for $30, not worth it. Especially since it's you can get the animation for free. I think the animation's available on Disney Plus.
Well, yeah, but you gotta pay for Disney Plus. But yes, you can stream it at Disney Plus's regular price.
Yeah, it's $6 a month or whatever, compared to a $30 one-time fee for a movie they've had finished since March and could have just released whenever they wanted to. I don't know. I think, given the pandemic, though, obviously your life's not worth a movie. If you want to choose between one of these two movies and you are conscious about the risk, Mulan, go with it. $30 is a gross price in my opinion, but it's not a waste of $30,
Yeah, and you can watch it again and see, what if You can watch the parts that you just like again. I mean, you can you can. It's just like a DVD. You can. Well, the app doesn't work incredibly well on the way I watch it, but anyways, for me, I guess if I could weigh in an opinion for a movie that I haven't seen yet, so it sounds like you are like either or. Just as if you trust the theater, go to the theater.
Yeah.
If not, watch Mulan. And I would say, should you stay? Should you go? Well, for me, from what Greg said, I feel like I could wait for Tenet to be available somewhere other way. And at the very least, if I bring in the way I felt before I saw this movie, I was pretty excited for this movie. I think that it is worth it. But yes, it is worth it. So I would say stay, watch Mulan. But also you can stay and watch Mulan in December.
Yeah.
So,
I would say bide your time with the animation, and then when Mulan's free in December, go ahead and watch that.
There you go.
Yeah, so I guess I would say
I
go
watch it too
or neither.
Because I didn't want to go or neither. Go or neither, and I say stay or neither. Though I am intrigued by Tenet.
Yeah,
I do want to watch it. I just think
they also played a teaser for the teaser trailer. Get that, a teaser for the teaser trailer for Dune by
oh my god.
I've learned how to pronounce this guy's name many times and I've always forgotten it, but it's Denis Villeneuve, something like that. It's the guy who did Arrival, the director of Arrival.
Right.
So it's like one of my favorite directors. He also did
he's doing Dune?
Yeah, he's doing Dune, man. And with Timothée Chalamet as the main character, as the boy. I can't remember his name. It's been a long time since I've read Dune.
It has been a good while for me too, but I first actually watched the film only 2 years ago.
Really, the David?
Wow, how I've never seen this before. Yeah, it was. I thought it like there's definitely some weird stuff in that movie, but it was so. I thought it was great. Yeah. I loved it.
It's a cult. I mean, people like it. I've honestly never seen the movie itself. I've just read the book. So I'd be down to watch that sometime. That'd be fun.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, the teaser trailer though, just like I love the book. It's not my favorite sci-fi, but I mean I get it's such a classic. Like it's so good. But that teaser trailer was so fun. Like I missed that. That's one of the things I miss most about the theater is the trailers.
Oh yeah.
I got to a point before Corona where, I hate seeing more than just one trailer. I just want to see the first trailer. I don't want to see, their second and third trailers, leading up to the movie. I just want to see that first teaser trailer to get the hype, because most of those don't spoil things. Right. So just seeing a teaser for a teaser trailer, I was just like, yeah, that's just the hype I need. I was so happy to see that kind of a thing again, just to have that moment. I miss the theaters, man.
You're talking about when you say second or third trailer, you're talking like the second trailer that's been released for a certain.
It depends. It depends on like how excited I am for the movie. So it's like for like Star Wars or something, I'll watch the teaser trailer and I'll watch the first trailer, and then I'll try to avoid everything after that.
Yeah, they start spoiling too much. After that.
Yeah, it's like the teaser trailer is typically like they don't give you anything, but it's fun to watch. And then the first trailer is like they give you some stuff, but they don't spoil anything. So it's like, at least with Star Wars and some of the Marvel movies. But just like a movie like this, like Tenet, I probably would have just watched the teaser trailer and been like, I don't want to know anything else. Because I watched the teaser trailer and it was like, I don't know what's going on and I'm excited. Like,
it's really easy in a lot of Nolan's films to accidentally give away too much.
Yeah, like I didn't even know this was
everything is a secret.
I didn't even know it was a spy movie going in.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, I think that's good for this episode here.
Yeah.
We've been green and faceless on the couch.
It's been fun sitting with you.
And it's been fun sitting with you too, Greenie. Been good. I'm the Faceless Leone.
And I'm the Green Traveler. And we'll see you next time. Love you.
Love you too.
I was saying love you to them.
Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of Fiction Works 19. It is our intent to publish new episodes each Thursday evening. If you enjoyed the show or wish to make a suggestion, feel free to leave us a comment. Good night.